Today, I'm bringing you the gameplay video of the fourth hero in Dice Clash World, Nature Guard. We can't directly select this hero at the beginning of the game. We must clear the normal difficulty of the game with any one of the 3 starting heroes before we can unlock him. Nature Guard is a hero who excels in both offense and defense. In battles, he can acquire and utilize a large number of his unique blessing buffs. The carrying limit of this buff is high, and it can both increase his attacks and reduce the damage he takes. In the later stages, the carrying limit can be further increased through special skills and cards. If used properly, he is an excellent choice for dealing with boss battles or protracted battles. In the video, we have already gone through several battles and obtained 5 blessing buffs. As described in the buff information, we can see, the number of blessing buffs we currently possess has temporarily reached the upper limit. This buff can be used both when we are on the offensive and on the defensive, and there is no limit to the quantity. When used during an attack, for each buff used, 1 point of damage will be added. When used during defense, for each buff used, 1 point of damage will be reduced, and this buff can be used to reduce the damage as long as it is not caused by an ultimate skill. Back to the battle. It's my turn to attack. This time, I use a card to activate the Storm Rush skill and consume all the blessing buffs. The Storm Rush skill can deal damage to the enemy equal to the sum of the total values of 3 dice rolls. It's a pity that the result of this roll is not ideal. Even with the blessing buffs taken into account, the total damage output is only 10 points. This is the detailed skill interface of Nature Guard. After browsing it, we will find that most of this hero's skills have a high probability of obtaining the blessing buff and the evasion buff. It's equivalent to having preemptively replenished the energy for the operations in subsequent rounds each time during both attacks and defenses. Therefore, his long-term combat ability is extremely powerful. The monster's skill has no damage reduction effect, and this attack has caused a full 10 points of damage. Note that there will be some exclusive buff cards in Nature Guard's deck. If you obtain them, you need to use them in a timely manner. For example, this time, we have obtained 2 blessing buffs for free. Whoa! The damage of the monster's attack this time is as high as 11 points. We currently only have 2 blessing buffs. There's no other way, we can only try our best to reduce the damage this time. However, after defending, we have additionally obtained blessing buffs and evasion buffs, which will be helpful for our subsequent battles. We've noticed that, unlike before, every time our attack turn starts, 2 cards will appear for us to choose from. This is actually the effect of the equipment card, Dragon Glove. It should be specifically pointed out that during the game, there is a certain probability for us to obtain equipment cards and add them to our deck. Later in the battle, we can use this card and equip it in the equipment slot at the lower left corner of the screen. Each person can equip a maximum of 2 pieces of equipment. If we want to equip newly acquired equipment later, we need to discard one of the previously equipped items first. Each piece of equipment has its unique characteristics. Making flexible use of them will be of great help to the progress of the game. In this attack, we used the Lion's Roar skill. Not only did we defeat the monster, but we also accumulated the evasion buff and the blessing buff. It was a perfect strike. We've actually encountered the Golden Thief. This monster has a chance to steal our gold coins both during the offensive and defensive phases. This will seriously affect our subsequent shopping experience in the store. We must deal with it carefully and strive to finish the battle quickly. The squid's attack couldn't be defended against. We used 2 evasion buffs to dodge this attack. Looking at the dice faces, I'm going to try to activate the Storm Rush skill. I managed to succeed on the reroll. Next, I used all the blessing buffs to increase the damage. The 3 dice rolled a total of 9 points. Well, it's not too bad, I guess. Although the squid blocked a bit of damage, it only has 8 hit points left. I guess the hero might win with the next attack. Next, I modified the squid's attack dice, causing its attack to fail. Annoyingly, the monster's passive skill allows it to steal 1 gold coin from the hero when its attack fails. I guess you could say I'm paying with money for my life. The result of this roll is a bit disappointing. Besides, there are no blessing buffs available. It seems quite difficult to defeat the squid in one go. I can only use the rage skill as a transition and, by the way, obtain more blessing buffs. When the squid made a defensive roll, it rolled a 6, and its passive skill stole another gold coin. Although it should be considered good news that the squid failed in its offensive roll, the bad news is that I've lost my third gold coin. Using the Starfire skill is enough to end this battle, and it can also stack the blessing buffs up to the upper limit. The monster we encountered this time is the Twin Serpent. This monster has a high probability of draining the hero's health points both during the offensive phase and the defensive phase. In addition, if it fails in the offensive roll, it will impose a curse buff and a silence buff on the hero, preventing the hero from using the big straight and small straight skills and also from rolling a 6 in the next offensive round. It's really troublesome. Although the result of this throw is not very satisfactory, with the additional 5 points of damage from the 5 blessing buffs, the overall damage output is still quite impressive. As expected, the monster's attack directly drained 3 points of my health. After careful consideration, I've decided to use the Nightwalker skill in this round. Although using this skill won't directly defeat the monster, I can obtain 2 evasion buffs. It will be a sure gain to defeat the monster in the next round. The monster's attack failed. However, it managed to apply the curse buff and the silence buff to me relying on its passive skill. Using the Purify card can remove 1 buff. I choose to remove the silence buff, so that I can use the straight flush skill in the next round, and there is a high probability of winning. Unfortunately, the straight flush skill wasn't activated as expected. And due to the curse buff, the dice face with a value of 6 couldn't be used. This time, I can only use the Tranquility skill to obtain some positive buffs to tide over this round. The monster's attack failed again, and it applied the same buffs to us once more. However, the situation is different now. First, we use the cleanse buff to remove the silence buff. And this time, the offensive throw can activate the rage skill, which deals a full 6 points of damage and should be enough to defeat the monster. Considering that the monster has the ability to drain health while defending, we double-check the details of the monster's skills. We can see that at most, the monster can only drain 3 points of health while defending, which is still not enough to stop us from achieving victory. Let's call it a day here, and we'll continue next time.